So the old saying is, hurt people hurts people.
Yeah.
So you're saying they're hurt inside because I'm challenging their reality.
Yes, you're breaking the paradigm. Yeah.
Consequently, all they can do is either accept the truth for themselves and consequently, as they turn that round, get stronger, or they hit the messenger.
Yeah.
Bash him.
And it's cognitive dissonance, isn't it?
Yes.
Inherently, if you really deeply asked yourself, what is going on here? Am I being controlled through love or am I being controlled through fear? That's the question that I would encourage and recommend people to ask themselves who are watching this.
The opposite to love is fear. I always thought it was hatred or evil, but it's hatred, but it's actually fear. And perfect love casts out fear. Beautiful. So, you know, in a normal, loving relationship, husband and wife, father, son, father, daughter, mother, daughter, there's no fear. You can just speak your heart, share your insecurities and become strong through making yourself vulnerable to people who are trustworthy. And have only got you good at heart. It's so beautiful. If it's a genuine Christian organisation and they say we are mainstream Christian church, if that really is true, you should radiate it in forgiveness and love, kindness, not judgment and fear.
Totally.
Well, it's interesting. It's now Thursday morning, and thank you for staying on. I mean, I love it when somebody comes and says, I want to stay longer. That tells me that you're happy and restful and enjoying it here and it feels secure, which is how I've always tried to entertain when I was in the Brethren. Big entertainer, loved people relaxing and just sharing their experiences. But what happened 2 days ago in court was that, you know, it all went through, and afterwards I said to my son, Jed, am I allowed to speak to you? Because I haven't spoken to him for 8 years since they shut me out. And obviously I want to speak to my own children. He's my firstborn. And my grandchildren and my friends in the Brethren. I tried to go to the Northern Doncaster supper gathering on Sunday morning. And no, you're not welcome, but we'd like to see you back. So all these messages which are kind of confusing. But after the court case, he didn't answer me. My 3 sons were there. It's so sad. Nobody else, just my 3 sons, and me and 2 ex-brethren who'd also been excommunicated. He didn't answer me. Then it went through his lawyers, who went to my lawyer, came back to me and said, I'd like to speak to Dad, as though he had to control it, couldn't answer me. And then one of the messages he gave me was, Mr. Hales feels sorry for you. I said, well, I'm more interested to hear what you say, Jed, because you're my son, my firstborn, than what Mr. Hales says. But he gave me 3 messages, that's one of them. Now, I'm thinking in my mind, well, this is the man that's instructed my sister-in-law, that's my brother Garth's wife, mother of Neil, that the brethren in Leeds should keep rebuking me in church until I submit. Something this man is now sorry for me, but he's the man that's been battering me, so to speak, or telling the brethren in Leeds to batter me. And metaphorically speaking, he might say, oh no, never asked them to take a big stick and bash Lance over the head. But psychologically, to be rebuked in church, as we went over yesterday, is a massively humiliating thing. And now he's saying he feels sorry for me.
Well, it's a lie, isn't it? It's a lie.
What's a lie?
Him saying that he feels sorry for you.
Well, thank you. That helps me to understand it. Just open us up a bit. Why do you conclude that?
Well, it is because it's a tactic that I've witnessed within people who are narcissistic and can't take any accountability when there is a disagreement or a truth that is wanting to be released from within them, and they're not ready to see that, then they will fire that falseness back on the person and say that, oh, I feel sorry for him. And it's like, well, you've created this, so that's a lie, isn't it? You know, and it is. It's because of the position that he sees himself in as he is a leader of that. He is coercing and manipulating people to believe that he is above the powers, and that's it. So then, in order to fake sincerity and care and compassion, which he doesn't have, because he's obsessed with himself and money and control and all of this power, which is a false ego that has been created. In order for him to really truly admit that ego exists, it would require him to take accountability. So instead, to the masses of the controlled, manipulated people, they are under the guise or an illusion that this guy is a good guy, when actually he's so lost.
Well, that's what Jed said to me. He said, but this is out of kindness and compassion. Jed was convinced that, just the opposite to what you are, that it was out of kindness and compassion. But it was said in the court case, my barrister said to the witnesses, it's like bashing someone over the head and then turning around and saying, look what he's done to me. Bashing yourself. And then, look what he's done to me. Because they opened emails to look at what they know was going to upset them, and then tried to turn me into a criminal.
To avoid their own internal struggle that is going on within them, the battle that's going on within them. They're projecting out onto the veil of reality and saying, oh, the problem's out there, when actually it's a deep wound from within them that they're not willing to heal.
So the old saying is, hurt people hurt people. So you're saying they're hurt inside because I'm challenging their reality.
Yes, you're breaking the paradigm.
Consequently, all they can do is either accept the truth for themselves, and consequently, as they turn that round, get stronger, or they hit the messenger. Bash him.
And it's cognitive dissonance, isn't it?
Yes.
And we look at the last 5 years or whatever, it's exactly the same in society. The microcosm of what you're doing here is also so many people will resonate with this because of the exact same thing. It's like their families are turning against them. You know, and it's like, but due to a control-based system that is based not in love but one of fear, and not in compassion, and not in sincerity and not in integrity either.
So if the brethren can see it, if they can be honest and face up to this, forget that all this stuff that I'm against them and I'm trying to create a war and all that nonsense. Just see that I've actually got their good in mind, because if we can turn this round together, and they cannot judge me as talking bullshit, actually speaking the truth, together we can actually help the world, because we've been through it ourselves. And made me the scapegoat in this case, made my father the scapegoat back in 1972. But actual fact, it's the religion who are insecure and thrusting their insecurities back on us.
And it's the scapegoat dynamic, you know, that was it. That's what happened in those times, was we would put all the sins on a goat and either chuck it off a cliff or we'd send it out into the open and... No, that's not dealing with anything. That's brushing it all under the carpet. Not only that, you're brushing it under the carpet onto this, I don't like the term victim, but this strong character who's able to take the burden of that, which is what happened in our lives, you know, in extreme ways in your reality as well, you know. It's like, but we don't stand there and play victim with it. We then become the strong one through that, and all of that's the dynamic of the scapegoat, whether it's playing out in your world, my world, or anybody who's watching this world. You are the strongest member of your family to be able to do that, and in your case you have real strength because you've gone up against a a huge,
multi-billion leader.
It's a corporation, it's a business.
Yeah.
It is not a religion.
It's not a person exactly, it's the system, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
But the system is embodied in the leader.
A system of governance, yes, yeah. And that responsibility is falls onto that leader, who isn't a leader, you know. It's like, but they are, aren't they? And then that toxic manipulation also bleeds into the realities of the people who are choosing to follow.
Well, I think he is a leader because it speaks in Scripture of blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
So would that apply, do you think?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
To your situation and governance as it is, you know. But the good thing is everybody's waking up to this now through their own microcosm of what is happening in their family units, you know. It's all been pushed forward by the narrative that's played out over the last few years as well. And the extremities of that are fascinating to make that, because inherently, if you really deeply asked yourself, what is going on here? Am I being controlled through love, or am I being controlled through fear? That's the question that I would encourage and recommend people to ask themselves who are watching this.
Yes.
Is it coming from a place of truth, or is it coming from a place of dishonesty?
Yes.
You know?
And love and fear are diametrically opposed. You know, I learnt that a few weeks ago, that the opposite to love is fear. I always thought it was hatred or evil, but it's hatred, but it's actually fear. And perfect love casts out fear. Beautiful. So, you know, in a normal, loving relationship, husband and wife, father-son, father-daughter, mother-daughter, there's no fear. You can just speak your heart, share your insecurities, and become strong through making yourself vulnerable to people who are trustworthy.
Yes.
And have only got you good at heart. So beautiful. It's not a priest system where they keep notes and records and can bring them back against you in the future if you ever disagree with them. I mean, how awful is that?
Yes, yeah. To bring up the past is a sure sign of weakness. You
Absolutely.
know? If you have to nitpick and find excuses in order to blame and shame and guilt, that's not love.
And that's actually covering up more serious things like sexual abuse, which have never been faced.
Yes.
Never gone to the authorities. They've been covered by church leaders.
Yeah.
So they can't afford to have anybody probing into all that unresolved stuff.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And that is the issue really that we're facing with. My father's withdrawal, it was wrong, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Absolutely wrong, from 1972, and meant that the family were devastated. It's because my father was a good man. So they target the pure.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the scapegoat then, you're the scapegoat now. Yeah.
Well, I don't call myself pure. I think my motive's pure. Except I'd hold myself accountable. I mean, if I've ever hurt anybody in that church.
Oh, we all make mistakes. You know,
yeah, but if I would like them to come along to my house, knock on and say, Lance, in 1973 or whatever you want, you said a nasty thing about me. Well, what happened? This all started because a guy called Mike Hughes said that his local subdivisional brother, who is in Morven, where I went on Sunday, was so badly drunk that the only thing left for him was to wake up in the gutter and I'll come and pick him out of the gutter in the morning. I said, Mike, that's not Christian. You don't want, he didn't even have a drink problem. So I took issue. Of course they don't like it because if it's coming from the top, Lance Christie is challenging Mike Hughes when he's authenticated by the leader, Bruce Hales, and Garth Christie, his branch manager in England, kind of thing. So they can't cope with anybody upsetting the apple cart.
No, that's it, yeah. And they know that inherently. When you look in people's eyes, you see it, don't you?
Yeah.
And they're going like they've got something to hide, whereas like pure souls or people who are willing to take accountability for their own mistakes, they're here with you.
So Mike Hughes writes
there's nothing to hide, that's it.
Exactly. Condemnatory letter into Garth, the leader of the UK. Garth doesn't do any advocating for me at all, sends it straight on to Bruce Hales. And curtains for Lance. Loses his family, loses his business, loses his money.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
It's that crude.
Yeah.
And now I'm challenging Mike Hughes as to whether he could look at that letter again and modify it, be a bit more gracious. That's, you know, I'm not I'm not saying I haven't offended, but all I was trying to do was to reconcile a father and son.
Yeah.
And I got that message from the son of the leader, Dean Hales, in Sydney, that is a good thing to do. Reconciliation is a good thing. I stand for that.
Yeah.
But of course, Dean Hales was mixed in his motives. He didn't like me interfering, but he couldn't disagree with a motive to reconcile a father and son. But then the same family have brought in this separation rule, which caused me to separate from my father when I was 16.
Yeah.
My father was a wonderful man. But I went by the Brethren rule book rather than stay with my father. My initial instinct was to stay with my parents when it all happened. I went to bed that night, but my Garth, who's the leader now, was only 15. He came, "You can't be in bed here, you can't stay here. They're out of fellowship."
Yeah.
Oh, I say, oh. So I kind of got dressed and stood and rang her brother and went, "Oh, you can come and see us if you like." And that was the end of my relationship with my parents.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. I was like a zombie, really.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? But because of that, the beauty of it is you then can put yourself in the position energetically of where the people who are still within the cult are thinking, and they maybe not like the term cult because it may trigger them. But if it triggers you, if you're listening to this and it's triggering you that you think that you're in a cult, then guess what? You inherently know that something is wrong.
Yes.
Something is out of honesty. It is not within truth.
Yes.
And that's within yourself that's felt.
And if the old expression is, if the cap fits, wear it.
Yeah.
If the cult label fits, wear it.
Yeah.
If it's a genuine Christian organisation, and they say we are mainstream Christian church, if that really is true, you should radiate it in forgiveness and love, kindness, not judgment and fear.
Yeah, totally.
So you should be a living exponent of mainstream Christianity, which is
Full
all
acceptance.
those wonderful,
It's acceptance,
yeah.